Evolution takes place this Sunday in Atlanta, Georgia at State Farm Arena. This is the second Evolution show. The first one took place in October of 2018, and it was a very well-received show. This show has a decent card, I have to say. Unfortunately, the build-up has not delivered. It has not been good at all. It just feels like they're doing this show to counter All In, AEW's big show. That's how I felt how they're treating Evolution this year. I don't have a problem with the show existing. I don't have a problem with the show taking place. I just feel like having it take place the night after Saturday night's main event is putting it in a position where it's going to be the second biggest WWE show of the weekend. I mean, at least it's not the NXT show, which is a distant third, but there's just been more focus, I feel like, for Saturday night's main event because it's a bigger show. It's going to have a big audience. And I feel this show would have been best served if it took place in late October like the first Evolution did, because WWE has a gap between Crown Jewel and Survivor Series. So I think that would have been the best time this year. Nowadays, you also have a thing where they're also building up SummerSlam right now. And that's only 3 weeks away. So Evolution is kind of in a situation where it's going to not be prioritized the same way SummerSlam and Saturday Night's Main Event are. And there was also, they had to build up Night of Champions as well. The timing has just not worked, and the biggest issue is the two main title matches have had no build-up. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky should be this great rivalry because Rhea Ripley can't beat Io Sky. And they should have been building it up for at least a month of how Rhea can't beat her, and this is a huge match. But, I mean, we got a very good video package on Raw. Unfortunately, that's it. I mean, it's had 2 weeks of build-up. Nothing. Io just chooses Rhea, and that's it. They didn't even have a contenders match, nothing. Io just chooses Rhea. And then on the SmackDown side, which is a much worse build-up, Tiffany just decides she's going to face Trish Stratus, who's had, one match in the last 2 years before she can just get another title match out of nowhere. The way they built it up was horrible. Horrible build-up for both main title matches. The rest of the card isn't as bad in terms of the build-up, but the two main title matches have had no build-up, and that's the biggest issue here. And that's also why they're not selling as many tickets as Saturday night's main event. It's unfortunate. See, it's kind of sad to see. I mean, it's not like it's a flop. The NXT show looks like the flop, but it's disappointing. And I do hope if they do a third Evolution, I don't think we're going to have to wait 7 years for a third Evolution show. I think it probably would happen next year. I hope they put it in a place where it's not used as counter programming. It probably should be in October, which is the best time for it. And they take their time and build it up as a good show, and it'll sell more tickets. But for what we got here, the card isn't bad. Adding the women's triple threat match clearly gave it a boost. In my opinion, it's not as bad anymore. So let's start off with the women's battle royal. Now the winner gets a world championship match that they're choosing. I think it'll be the brand they're on. At Clash in Paris, which is at the end of August. I kind of don't like that. I think it would have worked better for just SummerSlam, but I don't know what they're doing at SummerSlam. There might only be one women's title match at SummerSlam. We know it's Tiffany and Jade, and I don't know what the other one's going to be right now. So I guess I would think it would probably be on the Raw side if I'd make an assumption. So here's who we have right now in the match. Ivy Nile, Stephanie Vaquer, Nia Jax, Nikki Bella, Natalya, Maxine Dupree, Kalani Jordan, Jada Parker, Lola Vice, Lash Legend, Izzy Dame, Tatum Paxley, Zelina Vega, Julia, Chelsea Green, I believe is in, and I assume the Strika Hervis will be there as well. And that's all I really know right now. I'm sure it'll be much bigger. There could be some surprises. I think it was Michelle McCool saying something that she wants in on the match. There was another woman's retired women's wrestler who also wants in on the match. You'll get some surprises here. As to who wins, I think it should come down to Stephanie and Julia at the end, with Stephanie winning. I think it just makes most sense for Stephanie Vaquer to win. It's really disappointing how poor of a job they've done with her. She came in, she was the most over person to come up to the main roster for a while. Everyone loves Stephanie Vaquer. She's super over. Everyone goes crazy for her, and it's just so disappointing to see how they have not been able to capitalize on her momentum. They're not even having her on TV. Why? I mean, she's appearing on main event. She's appearing in backstage segments. I'm thinking to myself, why aren't we at least seeing her? At least give her something, even if she's just wrestling Ivy now and beating her. Why can't we see Stephanie Vaquer on Raw? And, by not putting her on TV, they're almost like making her seem irrelevant, and I don't like what they've done at all. I do think she's going to win. I don't think she's going to win the title at Clash in Paris, but I do think Stephanie Vaquer wins the Women's Battle Royal, gets a big pop, and it'll get people cheering. So I'm picking Stephanie Vaquer to win. I think she last eliminates Julia to win. So we have the no-holds-barred match, the feud that'll never end. Naomi taking on Jade Cargill. Miss Money in the Bank Naomi against the Queen of the Ring, Jade Cargill, in the rematch at a WrestleMania match in which Jade won. So who's going to win here? This is one of the tougher matches to predict. It really can go either way. I think some people might make a mistake assuming that if Naomi loses and gets pinned here that she's going to come back and cash in. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's a guarantee at all. I think she can just lose and not show up again. I think that's probably the most likely outcome. I'm sure they'll use weapons here. It should be better for Jade in the match with Asuka. I'm sure the crowd will be nicer to her here in Atlanta. I don't know how over she'll be. I mean, she's not very good in the ring. But a match like this, it's hard to have a bad gimmick match when you can just rely on, kendo sticks and trash cans and chairs and tables. Fans will love tables. When you do a table spot, especially with the Slim Jim logo, people will cheer that. You're not going to get any ladders here, but, I mean, you'll have steps. They'll have weapons. You can get away with the match. It's hard to have a bad match like that. I think Jade will be okay here, and I think she's going to win. I think Jade beats Naomi, and I don't think Naomi cashes in on Evolution. She could cash in at SummerSlam. I think that's more of a possibility, but I don't think it's going to happen. I was thinking maybe she won't cash in on Tiffy. Maybe she cashes on Rhea or Io. I don't think so. I think Jade just wins, and Naomi will eventually cash in and probably win. Just won't happen on this show, but Jade's winning this match. Next, we get to the match that was most recently added, and it's probably the best built-up match because they've done a very good job with this feud with Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria, and now adding Bayley, who in reality that's what the feud was all about when Becky first attacked Bayley before WrestleMania so she can have her spot. That's what the feud's really been about, and it's been built up well. It has one of the best build-ups on the whole show, one of the better built-up matches for the woman I've actually seen in a while. The segment on Raw kind of went on forever. It dragged a bit too long for me. That's my opinion. But a lot of people seem to really like it. I thought it wasn't bad. It just felt like it dragged on a bit. I'd like to see Lyra Valkyria go heel. I think that'll be good for her. Bayley, I think, will stay as a face right now. People do like her. And Becky Lynch, I just think right now it just doesn't make any sense to take the Women's Intercontinental Championship off her right now. Becky's doing good as a heel. She's annoying, and she has go-away heat to an extent, but not nowhere near as bad as her husband has, who has total go-away heat with me right now. But Becky, she does do well. She has good matches, and I think with the three of them, she had two very good matches with Lyra. I'm sure the three of them will be motivated because it's Evolution, and they'll tear it up. They'll all work very hard. Becky, Lyra, and Bayley will all do very well in this match. Crowd will be into it. I think this should be the opener. I think this is the best choice to open the show, and I'm predicting it'll be the opener actually. As to who wins, as I said, I just think it makes all the sense in the world right now for Becky Lynch to retain the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and I think she will. And I think maybe we get Becky and Bayley in a singles match at SummerSlam, while Lyra eventually finally goes fully heel, which I'd like to see. Next, we get the women's tag team titles defended in a fatal four-way tag team match. You have your champions representing the Judgment Day, Raquel Rodriguez, and her partner is no longer Liv Morgan, who was hurt. I assume this match was originally going to be Raquel Rodriguez and her former tag team champion partner, Liv Morgan, taking on the Bella Twins. That didn't happen. Nikki is in the Battle Royal, and I don't think she'll win. As for who wins here, you have the champions, Raquel and Roxanne. Roxanne Perez, who is the other half of the tag team champions. Defending against, representing SmackDown, we have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, the newly formed tag team. They've done a good job of building them up together since Alexa's return. Alexa has wanted to have a team with Charlotte, and they've actually done well in how they've set this up. And I think it's actually starting to get over, and I think it's actually good for Charlotte to be associated with Alexa right now. And I think it gets some of the heat off her. I think her going into tag division is actually a good move. You don't want to see her in the women's title division for a while. We especially don't want to see Tiffany and Charlotte wrestle ever again. Never feud again. I actually would have minded to see Alexa Bliss go after Tiffany Stratton on the show. I think she would have been a better match than Trish Stratus. And I think it even would have been a much bigger match because Alexa right now is a much bigger star than Trish is. And I just feel like her and Tiffany would have been a fresh match. It would have been interesting to see who the fans cheer for. You probably had a split crowd down the middle because both are very popular. And I would have liked to see that instead of Tiffany and Trish. But Alexa still has a match here. She didn't get to wrestle on the first Evolution because she got a really bad concussion. And she was just she was managing Mickie James and Alicia Fox when they lost to Trish Stratus and Lita on the opening match of the first Evolution. But Alexa's here. She's teaming with Charlotte. And then you have representing NXT, you have Sol Ruca, who is the NXT Women's North American Champion, who I believe is going to beat Izzy Dane on the Great American Bash show on Saturday afternoon. And she's with her tag team partner, Zaria. I'm not a big fan of Ruca. I think they're going to split eventually. They're not winning, but Sol Ruca, she'll be very athletic here, so do a whole bunch of Soul Snatchers. Fans will go crazy because Soul's very athletic and very talented. And then representing Raw is the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. Two of the best female workers in the company. So when I look at the work rate, Asuka and Kairi are both great. Roxanne is very good. Charlotte can be good. And you have four women there. Soul's very athletic. Alexa is super over with the fans. She'll be the most over person in this match by far. And she's not bad in the ring. People sometimes criticize her. I think she's always been fine. And then you have Raquel, who's just hit or miss sometimes. She does well with Rhea Ripley, but a lot of people do. I don't know how good she'll be, but I think you have enough good workers here to make this a solid Fatal 4 Women's Tag match. I'm surprised Charlotte doesn't have a higher profile match on Evolution, but I think her and Alexa are doing well. I don't think they're going to win the belt here. I think they'll eventually get it. They might get it at SummerSlam, but I don't think Charlotte and Alexa really need to win right here. I think it makes more sense to build it up. I don't think Asuka and Kairi Sane are going to get the belts here. They looked way too dominant over the champs on Raw. Sol Ruca and Zaria, I believe, are going to split up eventually in NXT. They're not getting the belts. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez will retain their women's tag team titles. And I think eventually it leads to Liv coming back and having a feud with Roxanne similar to Rhea and Liv from last year. And I think that's where we're headed. But I do think Raquel and Roxanne keep their tag belts. Next, we get the NXT Women's Championship on the line. The second time it's been defended at Evolution. The first time was Kairi Sane losing her belt to Shayna Baszler, who I hear is a producer now. That's cool for Shayna. But we have the NXT Women's Champion, Jayne, who didn't win the belt too long ago. She's accompanied with Fatal Influence Fallon Henley, who I think has more potential than Jacy, to be honest. And Jazmyn next, and then Jordynne Grace, who I assume will be accompanied by her tag team partner at the Great American Bash, Blake Monroe. I think Jacy's going to win. A lot of people think Jordynne. I saw the betting odds. Jordynne's a slight favorite. I wouldn't mind seeing Jordynne win. I think it would be good to have Jordynne win at much Stratus to her as champion and Jayne. Jacy's one of the worst champions, but I think they're building up to Jacy, Jayne, and Blake Monroe, with Blake eventually dethroning Jacy and becoming NXT Women's Champion. And I don't think they're going to beat Jacy right here. I think they want to put Jordynne Grace on the main roster soon. Everyone thought she'd be called up by now. and I believe she will probably after SummerSlam. And I think she's going to the main roster. She won't be an NXT champion then. And I think she'll be on the main roster. And I think eventually it's Blake and Jacy, with Blake winning. I do think Jayne will retain. She'll probably use the title belt as a weapon to retain. But I think Jacy keeps her belt here. Next, we get to the WWE Women's Championship. One of my most least anticipated matches on the show. Tiffany Stratton defending against Trish Stratus. Yeah. Nothing much to say here. I don't see why they had to bring Trish Stratus back. It almost felt desperate to me. Maybe they thought because they have low ticket sales they could bring her back, but it's not like she's a huge draw. I really didn't understand the reason to bring Trish back. I wouldn't have brought her back. I don't dislike her. It feels so rushed. I liked the match. I liked her teaming with Tiffany at Toronto in Elimination Chamber, and it made sense because she got to wrestle in her hometown. But here, it just doesn't really feel needed at all. I would really like to see Tiffany and Alexa, but they want her in the team with Charlotte right now. Charlotte and Tiffany wouldn't have worked at all. I think Alexa was the best choice. Chelsea Green, I think, is still kind of injured. Zelina Vega isn't over at all. I don't think people really want to see Tiffany and Julia as the U.S. Women's Champion. Don't think they want to put her in there right now, so I guess kind of you needed to go with Trish, and Jade is at SummerSlam. Bianca Belair, who would have made the most sense. Tiffany and Bianca, I think, is a match we haven't seen before. It's a kind of a fresh matchup, but Bianca's hurt; she won't be on the show. She might make an appearance, but she won't be on the show in terms of wrestling. And I guess they just decide to bring Trish back. I don't think it's necessary. Tiffany's going to win. Not much to it. Trish will raise her hand in the end. Everyone thinks it's the end of Trish Stratus, and she'll somehow come back. I like Trish, but I really don't see the need to bring her back right now. I'll be honest. Tiffany's retaining, and that'll be it. Next, we get to the main event. The Women's World Championship on the line as the champion, the genius of the sky, Io Sky, our Women's World Champion, who's barely featured on TV, unfortunately. She's one of the best wrestlers in the whole company, defending her title against one of the most popular wrestlers in the company, without question, the most popular female star in the company, Rhea Ripley. So if Io and Rhea, no doubt in my mind, this match is going to be awesome. It's going to probably be the main event. I think it will be, and I'm sure they'll get a lot of time, and those two, I have no doubt in my mind, are going to go out there and try to have one of the best women's matches ever. They're going to tear the host down. They're going to get all this time. Everyone's going to go crazy. Fans will be into it. They'll have an amazing match. There's no doubt in my mind that Rhea Ripley, Io Sky are going to have an awesome freaking match at Evolution. It's going to be the match tonight, in my opinion. They're going to have an awesome match. Will it be as good as the match they had in the triple threat that involved Bianca Belair at WrestleMania? Probably not. That's a tough match to top, but I'm sure they'll have just a fantastic matchup. Who wins? Well, you can go either way. You can keep it on Io, which I would like to see. I'd prefer to see Io keep the belt, but I think it's more likely Rhea's winning, and that's going to piss people off. They're going to say she's Rhea Hogan, and I love Io Sky. I'd like to see her retain, but I'm not going to pretend that she's a bigger star than Rhea Ripley, because she's not. Rhea is one of the biggest stars in the whole company right now. She's super over. Fans love her. They'll go crazy if she wins, and I think she will. I think Rhea's going to beat Io. They've been teasing that she can't beat her. I think they could have done a better job building it up, as I said earlier, but I do think Rhea's going to win the title here and defeat Io Sky and become the new Women's World Champion once again. I don't know where Io goes from here, but I think it's very unlikely that she's going to beat Rhea on this show. So I have Rhea winning a belt here, and that's how I see Evolution going. As I said, the build-up's not the greatest. It's been pretty bad. I mean, to be honest, the first Evolution didn't have the best build-up either, because they were building up that show, that Crown Jewel show at the same time. So the Evolution kind of was on the back burner, and here it's certainly been on the back burner. It's just they haven't seemed like they've really prioritized it too much, not taking it too seriously. I hope the show ends up doing well. I hope the ticket sales do better, because I like women's wrestling and I want to see another Evolution show after this. So hopefully it does better. I'm sure the women will be motivated. They'll all have good matches. I think the show will end up being very good. I just don't know how well it's going to be in terms of business. I think that's the biggest issue with this show. But as I said, looking forward to Evolution. The build-up, I've been critical of the build-up, but in the end, I'm going to hopefully the show delivers, and I want to see it do well. I'll say that. And I think, I don't know about the business-wise. I don't know. I can't predict that. I don't know if it's going to be very good. A very strong, financially successful show. But I do think it'll actually be a good show. So hopefully Evolution delivers on all fronts, and hopefully they sell more tickets, and we get another Evolution show in the future. And I really don't. I think it would really suck if we had to wait another 7 years for a third Evolution show.